For more on this, let's bring in Michael Faulkender, former Deputy Treasury Secretary, and Lou Basenese, Fox business contributor. Gentlemen, great to see you. We got the A-team here. I'm kind of interested in starting with the biggest surprises of 2025, Lou. And for me, it was the lack of impact on the economy and the growth and inflation that we thought we were going to get over the tariffs, or that a lot of people did. Certainly the Fed people bought into that. Art Laffer, by the way, to his credit, never did.
He was one of the standouts for sure.
He said, there may be an initial bump, but that's about it. Was that a surprise that it had as little impact as...
No, it wasn't a surprise, because I said from the beginning, this was the big stick that got the president to get everyone else to the bargaining table, right? Come out of the gate with an 83% tariff rate and watch how fast you get to what the real tariff rate's going to be. And I think what surprised most economists was that it just didn't lead to any inflation, right? And it was because you had deflation kicking in from other deregulation, from AI, and at the balance, I mean, the economists were completely wrong. We exit the year with 4.3% GDP growth. Yeah. I mean, the president's doing the right thing. Point at the scoreboard. Right. You can't argue with the results.
Michael, I've got the same question, but I want to push it a little. Were you surprised that the GDP, the last quarter, grew 4.3%, way over what the Fed was predicting? I mean, I think actually we have a chart. Put up those boxes there. The Fed was suggesting their September forecast that we were going to have 1.6% for the rest of the year. Actually, at second quarter, we had 3.8, and then the last one was 4.3. They were blown out of the water by what actually happened. Were you surprised?
I was not surprised, David, because if you go back to the economic record of the first administration, you saw that the combination of low energy prices, deregulation, pro-growth tax reform, all are the foundation for generating a strong economy that doesn't have inflation that goes with it. And so once that was reintroduced at the beginning of this administration, you saw the benefits of that permeate its way into the economy. And I think we should recognize how well it set the foundation for next year, because, I was just saying, oil is at $57 a barrel today. Amazing. That has not yet fully internalized itself into the economy. Yes. And if you have low energy and vast amounts of it available to you, couple that with the large tax refunds that are coming in February and March, and that success that we saw in the second and third quarter of this year are going to continue into next year.
You guys are younger than me, I know, by quite a distance, but I do remember very well the Reagan years, and I have not seen incentives in the economy that are this strong, deregulatory, lower taxes, the whole energy revolution that we had, again, going back to the first term of Trump, than we have right now. Not since Ronald Reagan in the early 1980s have we seen this. But Lou, I just want to play the soundbite from the White House, Carolyn Leavitt, and see if you think it's too much pie in the sky stuff coming from the White House. Roll it.
The largest tax cuts in American history for middle-class Americans that President Trump signed into law last year will be going into effect this year. So hardworking Americans will start to see that money going back into their pockets. We know core inflation right now is at a 5-year record low. The full weight of President Trump's economic agenda, everything that he and his economic team have been doing over the course of the last year, is really going to come to fruition this year.
Lou, is that just pie in the sky, or is it the real thing?
No, I mean, she's slinging truth, and Michael said it. This is a big foundation that's been built this year, and the momentum's building. I'll tell you this. There's a GDP kicker that's embedded here in real estate. It was a 0.2% drag on GDP growth in the fourth quarter. If the president can get real estate reinvigorated, which I believe he can, he's coming out with new policies and programs, we could see 5% GDP growth. Bring you back to your Reagan days, was the last time we saw that.
Well, Michael, that leads me to the question of whether we're going to see another reconciliation, particularly before the midterms. Is it possible to squeeze another one in to get some issues like housing, some issues that would increase housing sales, et cetera, in this country?
It is absolutely possible, David, because they're able in this 2-year period to do 3 reconciliation bills because of the non-overlap of the fiscal year with the calendar year. And so they know how to do it, right? All of President Trump's economic policies that required legislative action, a lot of them got through in that reconciliation bill. But as you just said, both housing and health care are things that remain to be tackled that the president is putting a lot of attention on right now. And I would expect us to see both of those come up in whatever can pass both the House and Senate. It's going to have to be through reconciliation because the Democrats have demonstrated, as your former guest Byron Donald was talking about, they are unwilling to negotiate at all on policy. And so anything we do is going to have to be done through reconciliation.
Lou, what about the pockets of socialism? We've been talking about Mamdani, of course, and other pockets. We have the drag of Illinois and California. California's on the edge of coming out with a wealth tax, which has failed everywhere, every time it's been put in power. Bill Ackman just came out saying no one would stay in California if that's agreed to.
Yeah, pockets of socialism will always be pockets of socialism because the outcome matters, and you're going to see this happen. If you pass a wealth tax in California, this is not like the millionaire taxes that we saw in Maryland and other states. Like, this is actually on unrealized gains in a lot of cases. So this is hugely onerous on these billionaires' pockets. Even if one or two of the 200 billionaires leave California, has a huge impact.
Michael, you only got 15 seconds. Could you weigh in on this? These pockets of socialism in America, how big a drag will they be?
I think we have already seen movement out of places like New York, California, and Illinois towards free states like Texas and Florida. That will continue, if not greatly increase, if Mamdani succeeds in implementing his approach.
Michael Faulkender, Lou Basenese, great to see you, gentlemen. Happy New Year to both of you. Thanks for being here.